Hello everyone, and welcome to my new tutorial video on how to make mermaid tails. So with all the mermaid excitement that's going on right now, I thought it'd be kind of neat to show you an idea of how to do a mermaid tail to help accent a cake, or you can use them once they dry out on the top of cupcakes, or even use these really cool molds to put chocolate in them and make little candy bars, things like that. So today we're going to actually use fondant. As you can see, I'm already kind of rolling it to soften it up. And I've already made a couple here. I've got a little pink one with some sparkles on it and another pink one with a little bit of silver sparkles on it. But this particular one that I'm gonna make, I'm actually gonna hand paint it. So the other ones I actually just took some fondant and mixed it with some food coloring. I used the Chef Master Rose Pink food coloring to do the color on that one, and then I used a little bit of silver disco dust as well as some magenta disco dust just to kind of give it some extra sparkles. And I actually used a little bit of powder on it too, a little bit of petal dust. It kind of gives it an iridescent feel to it as well. Now when we're going to use these molds, one thing that's really important to do is try to make sure it's as flat as possible like this. There's no creases or anything in the molds. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work it in here, as you can see. We're going to trim the sides of it, so obviously it doesn't matter if it doesn't get perfectly put in here, but we will trim the sides of it, so we'll go ahead and just kind of smush it in. We want to make sure to get to the bottom of the mold so that we can get every little bit of the scales and everything on here as possible. All right, I think we're doing pretty good. So now once we go to peel it off, ooh, look at that, a mermaid tail. So I'm gonna put a little bit of powdered sugar here on my board just so that it doesn't stick to it as I start to kind of trim down the mold here. So on this one, I'm actually gonna use a knife here. Got a little bit of food coloring on it. It's okay though, because I'm gonna paint it when we're done. Just kind of do the little pieces here, get them off to the side. This is the part that's super fun, if you can tell by my sarcasm. Mainly just because it's a lot of little tedious work. And there we go. If you have an X-Acto knife, it probably would work a little bit better on that. And then just kind of as you do it, make sure the sides are smooth so that you don't have any kind of little overhangs there. And the more you can kind of go smooth around it, the better it would be. There we go. Okay, and once you're done with those little pieces, kind of just throw them off to the side so they don't get in your way. And what I'm using for the mold, I actually got it on Amazon, but it is a silicone, sorry, mermaid mold that I got, and you can actually use it for chocolate or fondant or any kind of molded chocolate, but you can melt it and use it for candy too, so it is heat resistant. So I want to make sure that the tail is all pointy and everything. Now that we've got it done, I'm going to kind of scoot some of this powdered sugar off just so that you can see a little bit better of what we're doing here. Also, another thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little paintbrush and just dust the powdered sugar off of it, so when I go to paint it, you're not going to see all of it. All right. Now also with this one, if you're going to use it like for a cake top or something like that, and you want to actually have it sticking out of the top of the cake like so, which, you know, it's obviously sideways, you're going to want to give it a couple days to harden, at least. If not, maybe a little bit longer just to be safe. That way it doesn't fall over on you. So what I'm going to be using to paint is I'm going to actually be using my Chef Master, or I'm sorry, this one's Allen Color Gel Dusty Mermaid Color. And then I'm also going to be using the Americolor Sky Blue. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to do a green that fades to the blue. Now I have them here in my little paint tray here, and then to dilute the food coloring, we'll use vodka. This will also dissolve so the alcohol won't stay in it, but it will help to liquefy the food coloring and make it kind of more like a watercolor. So as you can see here, I'm just going to spray it in here, and I'm also going to spray it on my tail right here. Now I've already picked out a couple paint brushes here. Big thing when I paint, I like them to be soft. And so I always kind of want to check the bristles before I use it. And I'm going to start first of all with the green right here. So the nice part about doing the vodka on it is if I put it on there and immediately I think it's too dark, I can kind of go back and I can alter it a little bit. So I'm going to start out with the green here and kind of do the sides. And I actually want it a little bit darker on the top, and then I'm going to fade it out to the bottom. So This is to me just like one of the perfect greens for that. And I want to get it a little bit thicker, so I'm going to do a little bit more here to the side. There we go. Make it a little bit thicker to make it a little bit nicer. Now the nice part about with painting a cake to me, I don't feel like you have to have everything so perfect on it. Obviously you want it to look really nice, don't get me wrong on that, but you know, the nice part about a painted cake is, you know, it's definitely kind of a watercolor-ish. You just want it to be, you know, natural looking more than anything to me. Okay, so on this now, since I want to fade it down a little bit, I'm going to do a little bit more vodka here at the bottom. And I don't even really need any more color. And as you can see here, make sure to don't forget to do the sides. You can see it's kind of already watering out a little bit. There we go. Sorry if I got my head in the shot there. And then I'm going to just do a little bit more, just to kind of even it out, because you want it to kind of fade, that whole ombre look. There we go. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then the next thing we'll be doing is we're going to be doing a little bit of blue on it. So we're going to go ahead and get a different paintbrush this time, and then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of blue at the bottom here. I'm going to work my way kind of up so that it kind of meets in the middle. So there we go. Do a little bit of spray right there, and then we'll start with the blue here. It's kind of like a sky oceany blue here. Make sure, like I said before, to always get the sides of it. There we go. And I'm going to start out a little bit watery on it, and I can always add more. Do all the tail. I can always add a little bit more, but I kind of want to blend it together. I personally love painting cakes because I just think it makes it look so much prettier. The colors are just so much more vibrant, in my opinion. When you can do the fondant, it's nice too, but to me this just kind of, this gives it a really cool effect. And a lot of times too, you can let it dry and add more in there, and see how I'm kind of going up on there. I'm going to blend it together. There we go. And I'm just going to stick my head, sorry, in the shot just to make sure I got all the sides of it. There we go. So we've got a nice, beautiful ocean mermaid there. Now, if you know me, you know that I do love my sparkles. So it would not to me be a mermaid without a little bit of glitter and a little bit of bling. So I'm going to use my blue. It's called Vivid Blue. It's disco dust. So what disco dust is, it's a sugar, but it's a very sparkly sugar. So I'm going to add just a little bit here to the tips. And kind of gives it a little bit of flair. So that way, and I'll probably, when I put it on a cake, I would probably do the tips of it as well. That way, if this is a cake topper and it's sticking out of the top of the cake, the sparkles will be on the top where you see it. Just a little bit on it. It might not be very noticeable in the camera, but it is quite sparkly. So it kind of gives it a little bit of extra pop there, which you can kind of see. Then, just to give it a little bit more pop too, because I do think it needs it, just a hair, I'm going to put a little bit of my purple here into a couple of different areas here, just to kind of give it a pop. Just in this one little area, just to kind of give it a little bit extra. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So it kind of gives it just a little bit of extra pop right there in the mermaid tail here. And now you can kind of smooth it a little bit more into it. And I'm going to kind of push it a little bit more into the scales just to kind of give it a little bit better feel. But once you see it, then it kind of gives you the sparkles and everything. So believe it or not, that's pretty much everything there is to a mermaid tail. Now the biggest thing about this one, like I said earlier, is you're going to want to definitely make sure it hardens if you're going to use it as a cake topper. Probably for about 3 or 4 days. You'll know. If you are going to do a cake topper as well, you'd probably want to go ahead and just pre-stick your toothpick in here as well, just so that makes it a little bit easier, because obviously once you have it hardened, it's going to be real hard. One thing, like I always say, is it's never, you know, too much sparkles or anything, so feel free if you kind of want to just even jazz it up a little bit more and just put a couple more sparkles here and there, you know, don't hesitate to do it. You know, just give it a little bit of fun. It's a mermaid, so it's supposed to be all fun and beautiful and magical for sure. So thank you so much for joining me on my tutorial on how to make a beautiful mermaid tail. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.